But our culture, you know, in terms of civil rights now,
Oh,
in
yes,
terms of the civil rights,
let's get back to that one.
it's become almost a civil rights issue. Some places, and people will have the opinion that to say homosexuality is not normal is a hate crime. To say that homosexual behavior is immoral is tantamount to a hate crime. We've come to that that point of view. Now let's consider the civil rights issues.
All right. Well, you know, I was on recently on a gay radio station in San Francisco, and after they finished interviewing me, their resident, and she calls herself this, their resident lesbian, came on and she said, you know, I don't think that Charlene ever was really gay. She couldn't recognize the fact that, and she didn't want to recognize the fact that I had come out of homosexuality. She didn't want to recognize that. And this is all going into the civil rights things. Ex-gay ministries are actually under fire because what's happening is if the ex-gay ministries continue to grow and continue to help people come out of their homosexuality and people continue to change, then the gay agenda is going to lose the civil rights battle, because the civil rights battle is based on the fact that homosexuals should have these specific rights because they're born gay. But if I was born gay, then I never could have changed. I mean, I couldn't, you know, I was born Caucasian. There's no way I could change my skin color, because this is well, there is scientifically, of course, but, you know, there's no way I could just do
No
it.
natural process.
No natural process. Thank you.
So I see what you're saying, Charlene. So if people are not born gay, that undercuts the civil rights issue as far as homosexual rights, such as marriage, adoption, and so on. That is then cast into another light.
Yeah,
if we say homosexual behavior is not normal, it is not moral, it is not natural, then that cuts the political and the moral argument out from underneath the gay community in their struggle for same-sex marriage and adoption. Now, we are not political people.
No, we're not. But
we're not. But
the whole thing, one of the things that people don't look at with gay adoptions and gay marriages, I mean, when I was in the life, I wanted to marry one of my girlfriends, and we wanted to have kids together. I mean, there is that natural desire to join with another person in love. We know that from the book of from Genesis, where they became one flesh. There's that natural desire that's built into it. There's that natural desire for people to have children and to, you know, for their selves to go forward. So what the homosexual population has experienced is a natural thing, wanting to have children and wanting to get married. But it's skewed because of the fall, because of the sin of Adam and Eve. It's skewed. So what they're wanting is something that they should have, but because of all of the world having fallen, you know, that's what's happening to them. And I mean, it's almost like they don't have hope. You know, my heart just goes out to them. I don't want it to sound like we're picking on them at all, because it's not meant to be. We love them very much.
For 30 years, I was apart from any kind of outreach to gay people. I have written 2 books. I've written 2 books, one called The Third Sex Question Mark, and the other one called The Gay Theology. And so, you know, these books have been out, and so I was a part of that ministry. In fact, I have to divert a little bit. In my doctoral thesis, my dissertation, rather it's called dissertation, my dissertation was written for these people. It was called A Marriage Manual for Former Homosexuals.
Oh, wow.
I still have it. I never attempted to get it published.
I'd love to read it.
But the reason I wrote it is because so many people were coming into our ministry, and they wanted one day to be married. They wanted that thing you're talking about. And all over these years, I've always wanted to enter back into an outreach to people struggling with homosexuality. And I was glad that you came along, because it gave me the opportunity to do this again, because I've always had that same sense of a certain sadness. I know that sounds patronizing and a certain way demeaning to people, but I can't help it. I have still had that hope that I would be able to reach out to these people, and in a small way we're able to do that. But there is a sadness to be stripped away, separated from some of the normal processes of life, and to be in conflict with yourself and so on. So we have the issues, and it all really goes back it all really goes back to a position where somebody says, no, this is wrong. And in our culture, and I know I'm repeating myself, but there's nothing other than the church today that is able to stand up and say that. Nobody has a moral authority or a standing, either a moral or a legal standing, to say that this homosexual behavior is not right.